What's for lunch? TBBLC.
Stay in your seat.
What's for lunch today? Sausage. Brown bag, brown bag.
The Brown Bag Lunch Crew.
All right, welcome back. TBBLC, Season 6, Episode 7, I believe. I think I checked it. The last time we did this was in the summer, prior to the NFL season. But here with my co-host, as always, Drew Luster from Gloucester, Massachusetts. How we doing, Drew?
Doing great. Happy to be here. It's crazy to say, but we're 1 week out from Thanksgiving Eve, and I will try my very best this year to pick up, hold the rope for you and have your portion of meatballs and chicken parm a week from today. You'll be sorely missed, but you'll be there in spirit, and we're looking forward to hopefully seeing you back here in the winter time frame. That's what I got for you.
Okay. Well, hosting at Two Michael's Lane, or are we
Yep.
switched up still? Okay, we're still going.
No, yeah, staying where, sticking to what got us here type of thing.
Staying strong, yeah. I
Right.
feel like last year there were rumors of, possible switching. Was that Christmas Eve then that I was thinking of maybe,
Um,
or just
Maybe
Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving
Day?
Day.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving Day has sort of been back and forth a little bit, but um,
The eve will
Thanksgiving
never
Eve
go
and
away.
right, the Eves, I think Christmas Eve, we have time to get there at another day, but maybe we'll have to get Kenzie and his little buddy, his little friend on as well, Blanta at some point for Christmas. But that's a story for another day.
Yes. All right, well, let's start it off with some loves and hates of the week. I'll let you get going first on either choice of that category.
Yeah, so let's start with hate. Let's cleanse the hate, number one. So I'm just gonna come out and say it. People who don't pick up after their dogs, people who don't pick up the dog shit, in particular at the dog park. Now, I'm not necessarily a new dog owner. Obviously, you remember the goat.
Bell.
Yep. But I am a new dog owner as of recently, like after Bell.
You're a
And
new
long story
primary
short,
owner, I'd say.
primary owner, yes,
Yeah.
primary caretaker.
You're the adult in the room now.
I'm not the stepdad. I'm the dad who stepped up.
Yeah.
Anywho, let's get this train back on the tracks. So people who don't pick up their dog shit in general frustrate me. However, if you're in a dog park, in some of those sort of more private, secluded areas, I should say, regardless of where you are in the dog park, there's a dispenser for poop bags in every single part of the park. So there's really absolutely no excuse for you not to just pick it up to create a better experience for everybody,
Yeah.
unless you're just a lazy, inconsiderate a-hole.
I
You're
kind of
like, your
got a
dog's stepping in it, I'm stepping in it. I'm not a fan.
I kind of
So
got
that's
a little story for you here too,
okay.
to kind of back you up. But coming home from work yesterday or leaving at one point, uh, walked outside doing the normal little troop walk that we have out of the building, and there was a handicapped person with their guide dog, and
Okay.
the dog had to go to the bathroom, so she let him off the hook and like let the leash go, and he went out into the little, yard space lawn that we have.
Yep.
It did its business. And then I was thinking, I was like, oh, I wonder if that, poop just gets left there and the grounds crew cleans it up type of deal. But no, she had like off-wheel tires. She rolled down and picked that, scooped it up herself and was, off home post work. So if, we're getting to the point of accountability, she was the most accountable, and just goes to
Yeah.
show you nobody should be not picking up the dog poop.
100%. 100%. Couldn't have said it better myself.
That was your hate.
Yes,
My
that was
hate,
certainly my hate.
my hate's gonna be a mid shift. I've been doing night shift for almost a year now, a year coming up at the end of December. I have
Okay.
completed, confirmed, hopefully by now, my last night shift, potentially ever in my life, I hope. At least in terms of the Air Force life.
Right.
I am fully switched to days. I can't tell you how nice it is to be sleeping just at normal hours from like, I don't know, 11 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning type of deal, 6 in the morning. And I feel like all the problems have went away in terms of like I had some GI issues with the night shift. Obviously, sleeping
Yeah.
when it's 85 degrees out and sunny in Hawaii with no AC is an
Oof.
issue. Um, so yeah, that is my simplest pure form of hatred from the past year, I'd say that's been building up.
I respect that. Makes total sense. Again, you go through it way more than I have, but and I think we've talked about this before as well. There's nothing worse than trying to sleep and just tossing and turning because of how hot you are. I think in the past, I don't want to revisit a traumatizing moment on the pod, but I did at one point revisit or reminisce on the fact that when I did live at home, I didn't have AC in my bedroom. So I would just lay on the cold wood floor to try to regain some semblance of a cooler climate to my body rather than tossing and turning in the sheets. So
Yeah.
I feel your pain. We've all been there, and definitely happy to hear that you are back on a regulated schedule.
And I became a no, what would they call that? Blind, not a blindfold, night, not
Like
a
a
night.
sleep mask or something?
Yeah. I've become a no sleep mask guy. Even when I was on the sleeping through the day, just close the blinds. I didn't have a blackout curtains or anything, but if it was shady
Right.
enough, I was usually good. And the sun was on the other side of the house. But
I feel like those would just distract me and like restrict my head, and I'd be trying to sleep. I've never had them on but I feel like it just would be more physically uncomfortable than helpful.
it's actually not bad. But then you have to wash it so much, it's insane. I should have got like a 10 pack, but like
Does it just
after
get like,
2 or 3 days, it's just because your face
yeah,
produces oils, so it's just
it
like you
just gets
gotta
gross.
you gotta wash it. And it just got to the point I was like, I only had one. I was like, I'm
I'm
not
not
even
doing
doing
that.
laundry every 3 days, let alone, weekly. So I
Right.
just I just scrapped it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just fan on full blast, sheets only, and just grind away. If you got
It's the
six,
best way to
six and a
do it.
half hours, that was a great night shift sleep.
What is it? The be a man guy, just be a man, no AC, just raw
Yep.
dog, a hot sleep,
And
you
I'll
know?
tell you, I don't mind the no AC. Even in the summer here, it's like, yeah, it's hot during the day, but you're not usually just hanging out in the house. But at night, no
Right.
matter what, I get a pretty good wind off the east side here on Oahu.
Yeah. Yeah. Not too shabby.
All right, let's move on to the loves. What do you got?
I'm just gonna again cut right to it. Classic chocolate chip pancake. Had a couple this weekend, just at my house, like late morning, Saturday, college football is sort of ramping up. Probably like 10:30, 11. Make a couple of them with a little side of bacon. Kind of right up your alley in terms of breakfast, dare I
Yeah.
say.
Have you
And
have you
just,
seen my recent exploits at IHOP? I mean, this goes right along with it.
oh God. If 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 it's anything that I recall, then I'm not going to be shocked, but I will say just the combination of like a little short stack of chocolate chip pancakes and a couple sticks of bacon to get you by,
Oh,
kind of get you jump started on a Saturday. There's really nothing like it. And typically it took me right into dinner, which is always nice as well, especially if you're eating in that late morning kind of window
oh
time
yeah.
frame. So a nice chocolate chip pancake, decent amount of butter, not too much syrup to the point where it's swimming in it, but just enough where you know it's there and it's adding something. You know it's there in the room with you.
Yep.
And then a couple sticks of bacon to kind of get that sweet salty differential is what I missed, and I'm glad to have it back in my life. So that's my love of the week.
You know I love the pageantry of a breakfast, but I
You
have
certainly do.
been I have been eating more square breakfasts, I'd say, for the past year,
And
based
when you say
on
square, like what do you mean? Like, are we talking like we got some sort of an egg, a starch,
mm,
some sort of piece of bread? Like, what do you mean by
yeah,
that?
so I'll give you my work order, because that's, 3 or 4 days of the week if I'm in
Okay.
on either shift, it doesn't matter because I can get it breakfast as dinner coming off the night shift, or I can just get breakfast normal in the morning.
Yep.
I go fried rice, which has like the egg and
Hold
stuff
on.
mixed in.
Hold on. Hold on. What the? Wait, fried rice? We're talking
Yeah,
about breakfast, right?
breakfast fried rice. It's got like eggs and a little carrot and
I
rice
think any
mixed in.
fried rice has eggs, but yeah.
Okay.
Go on.
Anywho, I get that. I get breakfast potatoes, big old
Okay, we're
potatoes,
back on track. All right.
and then bacon, and that's my meat, and that's my breakfast.
So fried rice, breakfast potatoes
Yeah,
is so when we say breakfast potatoes, is
the
it
big
like a home
ones.
fry,
No, no, it's like a legit, big block of
like a
potatoes.
hash brown patty? Like a McDonald's hash brown patty.
but it's not fried. It's just like a cooked potato, I guess.
Like a baked potato.
Yes, kind of, but like the breakfast form. Like if you're saying hash brown, I'm thinking really fried, and that's not what it is.
Okay. So it's like on a skillet kind of.
Yeah. Like it's chopped up potato. It has, skin and all.
Skin and all.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
And that's my breakfast. So the fried rice,
Right.
I like to think I get the eggs out of it.
Yeah, I you do. You're that's right. You kind of got me on a you got me over the barrel on a technicality here, but yeah, you get the eggs.
But then I'll tell you when I was on nights, and this was a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I was on a big IHOP kick. I must have been going weekly,
Okay.
and I was
Ooh.
getting
I don't think I've
uh,
ever been to an IHOP, by the way. Not once.
that's crazy because it
Yeah.
is right up your alley in terms
I've
of
been to a
like,
Denny's, the one by the Liberty Tree Mall.
say, Denny's
Terrified for
is
my life.
sometimes not that bad. Like if you're getting breakfast at Denny's, you're fine. If you're getting
Yeah,
another meal, you got an issue.
fair enough. All
The
right.
IHOP here though, the airport one is actually the best one, and it's not like inside the airport; it's just outside the airport. There's a
Yeah.
Dunkin' right across from it, same parking lot. But I get
Nice.
short stack, so it's either two or three buttermilk
Okay.
pancakes, depending on how hungry I am. I get
Just
my side,
plain
yep,
buttermilk, just straight
buttermilk,
up.
straight up plain. Get my side of bacon. They're obviously giving you, the whipped butter, which is wonderful
Oh my God,
because
immaculate.
there's nothing worse than the
Dude.
stupid little block packets of butter
No, and
that
then
are
you're
cold and
shredding the
hard.
top of the pancake and it's ice
Oh,
cold and it's not going anywhere. It's like, seriously?
that's a hate of the week right there.
It
Those
is.
the cold butter and then whether it's, a piece of toast, pancakes, like whatever you're
And
putting it
anything, it
on.
doesn't matter. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter. Yeah,
the
100%.
worst. And then I've been doing their coffee is tremendous. It's unlimited
I
coffee.
forgot you're a coffee guy now.
Yeah, so I've been big
Forgot about that.
on, and I've been dabbling in just normal coffee because as you know, I was an espresso guy for quite a while,
I do
and
know that.
that probably stemmed from the espresso martinis. But just
It may
straight up
have.
regular black coffee from IHOP. They have like they bring you the little canister.
Oh, you probably love that because you love
Yeah,
the
it's
pageantry.
it's refill, do it yourself. It comes out
Right.
smoking hot. So by
Oh
the end
yeah.
of the worst part of the coffee, I think everybody would agree is,
I need
when
a
it
video of
starts
you one night at just going like this down the hatch.
when it starts getting a little lukewarm towards the end of your coffee, it's less interesting to me because I'm a hot
Yeah.
coffee guy. So
Yeah.
then the ability to just, pour in some piping hot coffee on the refill is fantastic. So that's been my go-to. I actually ate breakfast on my last mids coming off, and then we went directly to IHOP after for like a little snack because I was like, I'm still a little hungry. I can go for it. And that kept me up for at least a couple more hours, and then I only napped that day and I was back on days. But
Does
yeah,
IHOP do they do like burgers and stuff, or is it just that's it might be a dumb question, but is it
no,
strictly breakfast?
no, I think they have all meals now, but if you remember, I don't know if it was a couple years ago now
I was gonna
that
say like they rebranded for like a week or something.
it was like an April Fool's, I think, type of
It was
deal.
like a quick. I didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did an IHOB rebranding. So it was
IHOP. That's
International
electric.
International House of Burgers rather than Pancakes. And like you said, I don't know how long it lasted, whether it was
Felt
a
like a
week, a
week maybe.
year, who knows. But yes, I do believe they do other meals. I've just never gone there other than
Right.
breakfast.
Also, stay in your lane and like even if you were half genuine, you got to know to stay in your lane. Think about how many fast food kind of trashy places specialize in burgers.
Yeah. But
Just stick
I think it was a marketing thing. So like the fact that we know about it, any PR is good PR
proves
type of deal.
proves that it worked.
Yes.
Touche. Touche, IHOP. Touche.
So for my love of the week, simple. And it's going to be us talking about it probably for, 20, 30 minutes of this podcast. NFL Sundays.
Oh
I
yeah.
love
Oh
Red
yeah.
Zone. I'm a Red Zone guy now. I dropped Sunday Ticket because the price was so exorbitant on YouTube TV this year. They bumped it up what seemed like $100.
Is
And
Sunday Ticket the one where you can just watch any of the
every game.
games?
Yes. Every game other than the ones that are like Sunday Night Football's not on there, TNF
Right,
and
right.
MNF not
Yeah,
on
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But every single
Okay.
other game on, foot or Sunday is allowed on that platform.
Do they have their version of Red Zone, or is it just you just get your pick of the litter for what straight game you want?
You can package both of them together, but what I'll say about Red Zone this year was it was $15 a month. Like, you can't beat that
Yeah.
in terms of YouTube
No,
TV. So I'll end up canceling once January rolls around
Right.
because then I'm free. It's just playoffs and everything's televised on CBS or Fox.
100%.
And but just sitting down, and I think I gotta explain to you the Hawaii situation. So now we're in the
Please do.
8 a.m. start because we did daylight savings for you guys. We don't do it out here. So it used to be a 7 a.m. start, which is slightly too early for me, if you ask
Yep.
me. Waking up
Yep.
on a Sunday usually was my first off day. I would probably wake up at like 8:30 and start catching end of the first quarter type of deal. But now that it's 8
Okay.
o'clock, I mean, I sit down if I have Sunday off from 8 a.m. to about 5 p.m. and I do not move off the
That's
couch.
exceptional.
Yeah, it's
Like you
it's
wake up and you just have a full slate right in your face
yeah.
kicking off.
And I either have the food, leftovers or something going, or I might
Yeah.
dabble in a little DoorDash for the day. And it just doesn't get any better than that in terms of now that the weather's cooling down out here,
Yeah.
uh, it's very comfortable to sit on the couch, have the wind
Crack the
pouring in.
window, get a little breeze
and
maybe.
and red zone is just, hammering during the witching hour. It's the best.
Beautiful. How does that work for you with I know betting you would probably place it like days before because you can't bet in Hawaii, but how about fantasy? Like are you typically checking those lineups the
Yeah,
night
well,
before?
of course I'm not betting because it's illegal in the state of Hawaii.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I said that. I
yes,
said
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I said
Yeah.
it's illegal.
Fantasy, luckily Ken's is obviously on my team for the league, so
So
he is
he'll
kind of
if
relinquished.
there's any last minute tweaks, you kind of rely on him. I
Yes,
did see you take a little maybe oh no, maybe he took a jab at himself. I think it was the Jags or something. Never
potentially.
mind, I
I,
forget.
I I get upset when we have some of the defenses. I'm a like defense kicker pickup specialist. I don't try to overthink the other ones, but
Yep.
we did d briefly discuss Austin Eckler last week, and he a absolutely tore it up on Thursday night. And then I think we ended up plugging in Williams on Detroit, though. He just got back from his suspension. It was like his second week back, the wide receiver.
Oh, Jameson. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
James Williams. Yeah.
And he had a long touchdown, so he had
He
like
had a big
28
one.
points. I was just happy we didn't play Brian Thomas Jr., who now with Mac Jones has become one of the worst wide receivers in the
Irrelevant.
league. Needless to say, that is my love of the week. But do you have
Love it.
any other love or hates, that you want to get off
I
your
mean, I
chest here?
can't stress enough piggybacking off of your NFL one between fantasy and placing a bet here and there and just
Oh, how
watching
about
Red
our
Zone.
pick'ems? Like that's red zone in our pick'ems
It's
is electric to watch the end of the games.
oh, especially like you said, witching hour where you're like, especially with you when like, no, I don't mean it in this way, but like when you're in a hole and you just you need to see one go through the hoop and you're dying, that's where it gets electric towards the end of those games. And we're talking about the difference between one drive making or breaking you.
And
That's where it
idiotic
gets fun for me.
coaches, a missed kick, like whatever.
Right.
And we're not
Or,
talking even about winning the
passing up a field
game.
goal, going for whatever it
Yeah.
is.
We're
It's
talking
just
about
chaos.
spreads. We're not even talking about winning.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No. We don't care who wins. We're
Yeah.
not rooting for wins and losses.
Now that the Patriots stink, it's just like I'm strictly on the pick 'em train. Like that's all I'm worried about.
It's electric. Especially going in every week and I look at the slate and I'm like, oh, this is easy. Like, okay, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. And it never is. It
No.
just never is.
Nope. All right. Well, we'll move off that because we're gonna come back to it. Absolutely.
Yes.
We'll look at the standings a little of the NFL. We'll talk who we like. Let's talk a little stonks here. And I haven't checked back in with you. I don't know if you've gotten back into the market at all because we're a
I'm in a little
homeowner
bit.
now.
My toes in. I
Okay.
took your advice on Google, NVIDIA, and let me see what the last one
Well,
is.
those two are up. I mean, those two got to be up.
And Amazon.
Okay. I
So I
mean,
am if we want to talk
winners.
percentages, we're talking
I would think you got to be up like 20% on the portfolio since you bought.
I'm trying to look right now. Close to 30% total
Wow.
from when I bought, which is, I mean, pretty good for, again, we're talking quantity over quality here
And that was
with what I
what?
have in.
September time frame, probably.
I'll
Maybe.
give you the date right now. No, that was way earlier. That was May, late May, early June.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
So
no,
even
that
earlier.
tracks then for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you just named the big winners there in terms of Amazon, Nvidia. I mean, if you bought that anytime
The
early this
horses.
year, you're absolutely cooking in terms of your portfolio.
Absolutely.
A couple additionals I'd like to throw out there because they have been somewhat my sleepers. I subscribe to Motley Fool. My credit card gets me a nice yearly subscription on that, and these two came from them, PayPal and then Grab. Grab
Okay.
is a Singaporean based company. It's like what they deem the Uber of Southeast Asia. So you got to think not
Okay.
only Singapore, but you're thinking like Vietnam. I don't know if they're Cambodia because Cambodia is not as Western aligned. Malaysia, Indonesia, like all those countries down there south of China. They're up since I first bought almost $2, and the stock is was like a $3 stock at the time. So my average cost, at least on that one, is $3.89, and the stock is now at $5.66.
When did you
I
buy?
I bought this one. Let me see. 1 year. This buy looks like it was May. And
Okay.
I might have floated this one to you, and I said it's a
I
risky
think you might
one.
have.
It's a
Because I
risky one. I don't
recall,
know
I
what to
recognize the
do.
name of that of Grab. There's a chance I did what I always do, where I bought and then probably just said,
Couple days later, said, I don't
eh,
think so.
I could use that money to buy a pizza. I
Yep.
don't know.
Yep. So I bought 1,500 shares of that back in May. I sold about half of it when it ticked up a little, and then I actually just bought a 250 more. So I'm sitting at 1,000 shares.
Beautiful.
Like where I'm at with that. Would love for even just the smallest portion of an Uber market down there in
Sure.
Southeast Asia. And then PayPal, as you know, I think the biggest aligned positive for them is Venmo because they own Venmo
Okay.
and
Yep.
was just something was wicked cheap in terms of their company value compared to other fintech stocks back in, now let me check when I got this one. It was probably similar time frame. Yeah, same exact day, May 29th, 2024. Um, and they are up almost $20 from when I bought because
Oh my Lord.
I have an average price of $73, but I think I first started buying it in the low 60s and they're at 84.70 now. So
Whew.
fantastic
Right
returns on
time.
that. I love where my portfolio is at. We just had Nvidia earnings. Down about $3 today. Not too shabby. They were expecting an 8% move on either side, which is if we actually got that, that would have been like a 11, $12 shift either down or up. And we actually got the middle of like really nothing happening. But the earnings were fantastic. Everything beat expectations. So I think over the next month, we'll see that come to fruition in terms of stock price, hopefully creeping up near the 160s and 165 range.
Need it.
That's at least what I'm looking for and hoping for. And then DraftKings up. I don't know if you have any of that in your portfolio
Not
still.
anymore.
They had their boom and they haven't really gotten back to those levels. But if you kept kind of buying when they were down in the dumps in 2022, 2023 even, you're now seeing a little bit of profit, like $10 over where it was sitting at that point, which is, huge, relatively cheaper stock, 43.67, currently trading on the live market right now. Um, but that's kind of my stonk update. Nvidia, let's keep going. I think at
Can
one
you take
point
me higher?
at one point last year, I tweeted at Tron Carter, who's my golf Twitter account, who I like to shout out, No Laying Up podcast. I said Scotty Scheffler's like Nvidia. It just seems like every time you want to bet on him, it's like getting in too late. Like the odds are stacked against your favor. It's not worth the value. And then next thing you know, 5 weeks later, he's clipped another 3 wins, and the
Right.
value has tripled since the
That's a
last
good way.
time you
I like
said
that. I
since the
like
last
that.
time you said it was too high. It's like it's your typical number one. You're like,
Or so you thought.
he's gotta come to earth at some down to earth at some point, but
Right.
just keeps trending higher. So
I like that comparison.
we'll see how the holidays work out. You know, December, I think, is one of the best months of the year in terms of stock market, the fourth quarter, especially because of the holidays, people just spending more money. And then for, say, DraftKings, like their next earnings with the NFL
Oh yeah.
kicking back up, I would expect to be pretty huge. So exciting times in the market. We'll see what the new year brings. But with that, let's get back to the NFL. Let's talk a little
That's
about my Arizona Cardinals that I said at the beginning of the year, this is the team to watch out for in that
hmm
division. And
Yeah,
they are proven to be what I would
pesky.
consider the best team in that division right now, which is shocking to say.
They hmm. They
San
they
Fran is not the best team in that division. You just can't say it after the
not
past,
today. Not
I
today, they're
mean, the
not.
past 6 weeks that we've watched. It's like McCaffrey was supposed to solve anything or everything, and they look same kind of weak, sloppy team that they were 4 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah,
Debo has been so unimpressive, I've thought all year long. And they keep running the dumb jet sweeps and he loses 3 yards on it and he's standing up walking out of bounds. He's not even trying to get upfield and get a couple of yards.
it's crazy to me that like there's a world where San Fran just doesn't even make the playoffs. San
Yes,
Fran,
we are getting to
Seattle,
that world right now.
Seattle's 5-5. LA is 5-5, but they have a better conference record.
I
But the
mean,
same
talk
conference
about the
record
biggest
rather.
disappointments this year. I mean, San Fran, they had some injuries at least, but
Ayuk,
them and the New
CMC,
York Jets are abysmal.
Jets are. I think that's not even close. I think the Jets are without a doubt, undoubtedly the biggest disappointment. Ironically enough, I would also, within my top three biggest disappointments, I put the Dolphins. I
Yeah.
mean,
I will say though, at least for them, and this
you
was,
have the baked in excuse of Tua. I get that,
but
but
Drew, their
geez,
backups were like the worst
horrific.
backups I think I've ever seen in the
What happened to
NFL.
Mike White? Like a backup is supposed to keep you afloat, and they
Yeah,
just
win a
completely
couple
were
of
dead in the
games.
water.
Like
Dead in
you're
the water.
the talent was good enough to win a couple of games if you
Should have
had
been.
the likes of like a Drew Lock even. And yeah, Mike Doherty will roast me for this. He says Drew Lock stinks. I love Drew Lock. He's like
Dare I
a
say Bailey Zappi? Dare I
yeah,
say?
that's a little bit of a stretch maybe. Drew Lock's got some, winning times as a
He
Seattle
has some
backup.
moxie. Yeah,
And then
Denver.
Denver, he was pretty. I looked up his record. It wasn't very good. Uh, but somebody of that caliber, Flacco, I think Flacco would be a good instance at the start of the year as somebody
Thousand
who'd come
percent.
in, win a couple of games. Like if you can go
Yeah.
500 on the stretch where two is out, they are like very much in the conversation for the wild card. Whereas now it's like you're fighting such an uphill battle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they
Um,
were, but like you said, Jets by far and away, and it just fills my heart with joy that Aaron Rodgers is going to go out with such a little tiny fizzle like this year. What a what an
absolute embarrassment.
abomination of a football team.
If I had to ask you, what are your top two surprises for teams this year? What would those be? Because I think I have my
I
two.
think Steelers are not. I wouldn't have said like surprise in terms of them being a playoff team, but them being offensively a different football team.
Russ. I didn't think
Yes,
he had it left in him.
yeah, and Justin Fields at the start of the year.
Pretty darn good. They were
Pretty
four and
darn
two.
good. Like much better than the Mason Rudolph days.
Thousand percent.
And
And then they just rattled off four straight with Russ.
their offense like looks legit as in, hey, we can beat you because we have a good defense, but this offense can put up points,
Yeah.
especially in pressure situations.
Yep.
And
How
then
about Commanders? Dare I say Commanders?
yeah, I was
I know
thinking
they're on
on
a
the
skid,
on the
but
downside, since he's probably up there for
they're
like
a weird team,
shockers.
man, because they just slow. They come out slow every year. And as crazy as this sounds, I'm not counting them out yet. I can't. I
I
just
have to.
even if they get into that last wild card by a blonde
They
CH, I
got
just can't.
They got
No
no
way.
shot. Their defense has proven the last 2 weeks to be like
Bad,
unfixable. You
bad.
can't they no matter how many points they score, they just have no chance to win because that defense is so bad.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
Broncos, I'm gonna toss Broncos out there. They're a streaky
Yeah.
team, but they feel like they can beat anybody with how good their defense can be week to week, and Sean Payton kind of finds ways to win. Um, I don't
Minnesota.
trust I don't trust the Chargers still, Drew. I know they got Harbaugh. They looked good this week against Cincy, but they showed that they just let them squeak back into the game
That's
still.
the problem. I don't know if
They're still born losers. That organization
I
just
kind of
knows how to
agree with you.
lose.
I kind of agree with you. Minnesota is a weird one because I really like rooting for the Vikings,
Yeah.
but they scream fraud to me. They
Yeah.
scream it from, you know what I mean? Like they have all the pieces. Donald's been playing well. They have Aaron Jones. They have Jefferson. Hawkinson's back. They have Addison. I love O'Connell, but they just scream like They scream what they have been with
Yeah.
Kirk. Regular season stud, playoffs. I don't know.
I'll say this. I think
Like, is
them,
Darnold gonna win you a playoff game? I don't
well,
know if he's gonna do that.
Darnold was good at the start of the season. Like, shockingly, hey, seems like his problems went away.
Efficient.
The
Yeah.
past 3 weeks has been some of the worst quarterback play I've
He's been
seen.
bad.
They won 2 weeks in a row that were
Tight,
like
tight. It was in Tennessee and
one
then
score
last week.
games against
Yeah,
terrible, terrible teams. He
I
threw
agree.
3 or 4 picks each of the games, and a couple of them were like red zone ones where he was just like locked on Jefferson the whole time.
Yep.
So, to Kirk's credit, at least, I think him at the levels he was playing at, a couple years ago with this roster would
Oh
have
my God.
been,
Yeah.
the best chance for them to make it all the way, win a few
Yep.
playoff games. I don't think Sam Darnold has a playoff win in him. I think he's that
I don't think
that
so either.
bad.
Unless, of course, you would need Jefferson or Aaron Jones to just be have an absolute monster game.
And their defense doesn't scream like elite to me.
I
It's
don't think their defense is gonna lose
win
you
you
a
a game.
game, but
Like,
I don't think it's gonna win you a game.
yes,
I mean, they got diced up by Quentin Johnson, Josh Palmer, and Lad McConkey last week.
yeah,
And I love Lad McConkey, but come on, guys. There's no real threat with no Mike Williams and Keenan, and they just got diced.
yes. How
Oh wait,
about
am I thinking? I'm not. No, I made that up. The Chargers didn't play the Vikings. The Chargers played the
no.
Bengals.
Bengals, yeah. They let
So
them
forget
back
what I
in the
just said.
game. They were dominating. They were
Forget
up
what I just
like
said.
2 or 3 scores, but
Yeah.
they let them right back. Now, what about San Fran? I think we got to discuss them more because I don't know if Shanahan gets as much flack as he should for losing the amount of games he does in crunch time, like fourth quarter within a
Yeah.
score.
Like
They seemingly
three or
can
four
never
point game.
close. He's you're gonna not be shocked when I say this.
Don't say it.
It's Mike McCarthy
Don't say
reincarnated.
that.
It
No, no, no,
is.
no, no.
He doesn't know how to close out a game, Drew. There's no aggressiveness in that offense. It's just
You
we're
don't think they
trying
have
to
the killer instinct, is what
we're
you're
trying to
saying.
hold on for dear life. They're not letting, and I don't know if I blame them after seeing some of Purdy's, results this year and dumb decision making, but there's never a point where they're letting him air it out to their studs
To
to
like put
close
the
the
nail in
game
the
out, to be
coffin.
like, hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna make this a two-score game. There's gonna be no doubt. It's like, no, we're gonna, dump offs, run the ball with
Screen,
McCaffrey,
run the game. Yeah,
third
run the
and
ball for
fives that
three.
we have to convert. And
Incomplete punt.
next thing you know, we're punting, and now we have to hang on for dear life with, what seems
A
like a
banged up
tired
defense.
defense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. I think Drake Greenlaw they miss a lot, linebacker. Um, I think they're banged up in general defensively. They're not what they were 2, 3 years ago, even. And Kittle was out last week. Ayuk's done for the year. Debo's hurt every week. C-Mac, who the hell knows what he's going to give you at this point? So they're a mystery to me. Would it shock me if they made it back? No, but who the heck knows? The
I
team I'm
don't.
looking out for,
I think it's too
they,
late. I think that last week's game was the nail in the coffin. Let in
Detroit.
Geno Smith
Oh my
go
God.
down the field on you
What,
in the last
25 yard
possession.
rushing to 30 yard
Yeah.
rushing touchdown to win the game?
Oh,
Crazy. In
pathetic.
San Fran, I
Yes.
believe.
In a divisional must-win game,
Yeah.
both those teams, I think what going into it, San Fran was 4-5, and I think Seattle was 5-4. Somewhere along those lines, or
It was reversed because both teams are 5-5 now.
okay, yeah. And
But
like
same deal.
obviously a
Pivotal
massive
game.
matchup, and you just come out and you puke on yourself down the stretch. And
Yep.
every NFL coach now hates field goals. They had a chance there
They
to
refuse.
kick a 52-yard field goal to go up by 7, and they just said, no, we're going to punt, and we're going to make them
Yeah.
drive down the field on our tired defense, and they did. But there were
Yeah.
there were multiple games last week that felt like did not go our way in the pick'ems because the coaches refuse to kick field goals. Who was it? It was Dan Quinn the week before that.
I'm trying to recall.
Was it the week before? Or was it Thursday night? Did
Dan
they
Quinn. Who's he? Dan Quinn. Oh, Commanders. It might, yeah, it was him. It was Commanders against Eagles.
Thursday night,
Remember?
right?
Yeah, Commanders Eagles
Okay.
in Philly. Yeah.
In the fourth quarter, the chance to take a 1 point lead does not kick a field goal.
And then completely puked on themselves.
Not Drew, and that's like not even saying, hey, it was a fourth and inches, it was a long field goal, whatever. It was 2nd and 1, and they got stuffed on the same 1 yard that they needed to get two
Yeah.
downs, and then they said we're still gonna go for it and not just kick the field goal to go up by 1. It was insane.
And then their defense just fell flat in their face.
Oh
Just
God. Yeah.
complete collapse.
Yes.
Complete collapse.
And that was, I mean, I've seen it every week now though, in terms of the stat boys just in their ear must be saying, the percentages of getting this is 72%, blah, blah, blah.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
It's not 72%. It's one play, but it's also the two plays you just ran beforehand where the defense didn't even let you get close to gaining a yard. And you're
No.
just going to come out in a stacked, single back formation again and run a wide sweep. What are we doing? You didn't even try to
Sweep.
spread them out one of the other plays either. It's nuts.
Jimmy's favorite play, sweep.
Oh,
The first and
God.
10 sweep, Jimmy's favorite play for the Pats. First and 10 sweep for -1.
Yep, yep. And then what was it? Daniels tripped over himself on that play and
Yeah, or
lost
yeah,
two
the snap
yards.
went off his arm, and
Yeah.
it's just like, oh my goodness,
It's
disgusting.
shoot yourself in the foot. That's what happens when you
Yeah,
do, dumb coaching moves. It's just
when it
piles
rains, it
on top
pours.
of it, on top of itself.
Yep,
You got any
100%.
others you'd like to bring up?
I'd like to shout out Detroit. They're an absolute
Oh yeah.
problem. Their defense is v very good, very aggressive, very young and fast. And offensively, they're just going out every week and they're just looking to embarrass you, completely pummel you into the ground until you stop them. They're going to run trick plays in your face in the fourth quarter and just absolutely drive you nuts. And I love it because for so long they have been just such a miserable franchise. To see them just be go every week with the sole purpose of just embarrassing a team, it's incredible to watch.
Yeah.
And they can
Yeah.
beat you in so many ways. Defensively, they've came so far. You mentioned Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra, Laporta, the two running back. It's just they're going to be a big problem and a hard out down the stretch this year.
Dan Campbell, I think against the spread, they said since he took over in Detroit is unbelievable. I forget the sports advisor's,
Yeah,
Tommy stat that he gave out, but it was like a 3-to-1 ratio of winning. So Vegas hasn't caught
crazy.
on to how they figure out Detroit.
No,
I mean, that was my lock of the week last week, and they were given
Mac
13 and a
Jones,
half.
right?
Given 13 and a half to a Mac Jones Jags, and
Who are
they
already
ended up,
bad enough.
what'd they cover? 30 something? It was like 45-9.
Dude, they had 40 points and like no, they had 30 something points at half or something ridiculous. That was just a complete demolishment. Oh my
52
goodness.
to 6. Sorry. So they covered 40. Hey, they covered 45 and a half.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's
Oh
nutty.
man. Uh
I think that's it.
yeah,
We've
I'm
kind
trying to
of
think
touched on
anybody
all the
else.
big ones. Like
Bills. How about
Cowboys
the
are a
Bills beating the Chiefs
disaster.
last week? I mean, that was a fantastic game.
Did
I
you
think
Josh Allen, 4th and 2, 50-yard touchdown, running people over. He's he is fantastic to watch.
he
He is
is.
tremendous, and I love watching the Chiefs lose.
I watched him the week prior where he threw, I think, 3 interceptions versus the Colts.
It's the
And
Josh Allen
Flacco,
experiment
hey, Flacco outdid him. He had four
experience.
picks and a fumble, I think. It was one of the grossest football games I've ever watched in my life.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just how he is, I feel like. He's just a gunslinger.
yeah, and that's what you're gonna get, right? But I will say, shout out the Chiefs for being undefeated up until that point because they just know how to win games. But
Oh yeah,
it
they
felt
weren't
like
playing particularly well either.
no,
It was like the old Patriots, just
yeah,
found a way to win.
yep.
They'll beat you 13-10, they'll beat you 34-3. They don't care as long as
As
they get the
long as they
win.
got
It
the
was
ball in their hands on the last possession and they got a chance to
eerily
win.
similar to the second dynasty Patriots where they weren't going to blow the doors off you every week. They were just going to methodically find a way. And that's
Yeah.
what the Chiefs have been doing. So it is impressive. I'll give them that.
But I think that opens the door for Buffalo to regain potentially, the one seed. Because if they now lose just once more, they have the tiebreaker over them to gain that home field, and that'd be massive.
I wonder who the
Um,
Chiefs have the rest of the way. Can they lose another game? Let's
I
see.
think just they can lose another game from being,
Oh my
exhausted
God,
towards
yeah.
the end of the season.
Dude, they got Panthers, they got Raiders, and then here's where it gets dicey. At home against the Chargers, at the Browns, at home against the Texans, at Pittsburgh, and then at Denver too.
Chargers, Texans, Pittsburgh, Denver. So those are the games.
At Mile
Yeah.
High or Steelers or Texans, I mean those you never know.
And, the Bills, a lot of easy games because they get the divisionals left.
A lot of
And,
easy games because they have the Patriots twice.
well, that's
Did
what
we
I
play
mean.
them already?
And, they're going to play the Jets again. And the
Yeah,
Dolphins, depending on what
I don't know.
really they have to
Yeah.
play for at towards the end of the season,
Well,
we'll see.
yeah, right. What Dolphins team's going to show up, and at that point, are they even still rolling out Tua? Who the heck knows what's going to
Yep.
happen there?
Yep. I think the teams to watch down the stretch here, Chargers, Broncos, because that's, vying for that wild card spot in the AFC. I mean, the AFC as a whole, but that second spot in terms of the West. And
Would the
then
Steelers feel like
Steelers Ravens is just going to be a great race towards the end because Steelers are going to lose a game here or there.
do they feel like a first round knockout to you?
The
Like they
Steelers
can't get
don't, the
into a
Ravens do.
see, I don't know if the Steelers can get into a track meet. If they run into like the Texans or something like
I don't
that,
think they'll ever play a track meet with that defense, though.
you think that defense is built to just slow you down,
If
get off
TJ
the
Watt is in the
field.
game, they are never going to be a team to let up 30 plus points. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be
And
as
their
long
offense is
as
just gonna run chew clock too. Najee
as long as
picking
Russ
them
and them
underneath,
can,
maintain the
21 to
football.
27, 28 points, I think that's enough.
That's
The
fair.
Ravens have a similar problem to Cincinnati, I think, though, where that defense isn't very good,
Well,
especially
you want to talk about
pass.
not having a killer instinct? Who did they lose to? Was it
Raiders.
last week or 2 weeks
Oh,
ago?
I was gonna say Raiders at the beginning of the season they lost to, if you remember that.
And then who did they lose to last week that I can't? So Broncos. No, no, it was Browns. That's what it was. A couple weeks
Yes.
back.
Jameis.
It's just weird things like that where if you're a serious contender, you should do what to a disheveled Cleveland team with a backup
Yep.
quarterback, what Detroit just did to a disheveled team with a backup quarterback and cover 40 something and just make a point.
Yeah, now the
So
Steelers
they're
have
just,
home field too, so it's not like
yeah,
they're gonna be, playing in Baltimore
right. Ray
for their
Lewis
first
coming out
game.
doing the dance. They got the
Yep.
fireworks. Yeah,
Yes.
right.
And then obviously that's the AFC side, so you're getting either Buffalo or KC towards the end there with home field over them. So it's just, yeah, it's interesting.
If you had to pick
Interesting.
one team out of each conference, who are you going with?
I think you'd be crazy not to pick Detroit at this point for the NFC. And then I like Buffalo. I mean, I think
I agree with those picks, 100%. Maybe we do a TBBLC future exact matchup.
yeah,
I
I
almost said
like
World
that.
Series, Super Bowl bet.
That could be a good
Little
one.
something to track.
Yes. And I was looking at only the AFC this whole time. I didn't even get into NFC other than like talking San Fran and Arizona a little. The Bucks are 4-6, but man, they feel like they could have been opposite 6-4 just with a few close games. And
They
they've been
have
pretty impressive for how dead they are injury wise.
they're
Because
getting Mike Evans back this week, which is massive, I think, for them.
yes,
Enormous.
they
Enormous.
played. They what? Lost to San Fran by a field goal, and they didn't have Evans or Godwin
Yeah.
because that was like the week after.
And then
Baker's
they lost to the
been,
Chiefs by 6 the week before.
yeah,
So they've
Baker's
been
been
a
impressive.
gauntlet.
Baker
Yeah.
has been really impressive. And that's
They have a
really
soft
all from
schedule
the
coming up
NFC
too.
side that I'd talk about because we already hit on
The
Commanders.
Bucks have Giants, Panthers, Raiders the next three. So that they're gonna
7-6 right
with
there.
Mevin's
If you,
back, they're gonna be in the conversation for sure.
yeah, and that division, right? That division is atrocious. I mean,
It's wide open. Falcons, you don't know what you're gonna get
what
any
are the
week.
Falcons? They've 4 or 5 wins too, right? So they're only a game
They're
back.
Falcons are 6-5,
Okay.
so 2 games up. But again, the Bucks have a very soft schedule down the stretch, and they got
Yeah.
Mevin's back. So who the hell knows?
Yep. All right. The only other thing I think I had on my list here was noting that Thanksgiving is 7 days away, which means, you know, 6 days and somewhere around the 14-hour mark is your fifth annual White Ukrainians and Bacon at Six Wheeler Street. So to all the listeners out there, I am sure you are invited on Thanksgiving morning to head over to Kenzie's and enjoy a good morning wake up cocktail. Would that be considered? I don't think that's a cocktail. That's more of a breakfast in and of itself.
A
Um,
breakfast cocktail, a brunch,
yeah,
a
but
brunch party, a brunch gathering.
it's grown every year. We'll see some
Certainly
new
has.
faces, some old faces, but it'll be great. I don't know, is the Thanksgiving game even on? It's still postponed probably right now, right?
It's on. Athletics are back. It's
Oh,
on.
okay.
So I'll probably jump over there for a little something to wet my whistle, and then jump down to Newell. So
Hey,
that'll probably be the play.
oh, I was gonna say yeah, and then even maybe only do a half, who knows?
Maybe just go back.
Yeah. Yep.
By that time, Kenzie will be. I'll have to probably. Never mind. Forgot that we're being recorded. I'll just
We'll scratch that.
leave it.
So we'll pop the poster up here on our for our YouTube
Beautiful.
followers. Quite the AI, and there's no way Kenzie was the one to make that. I don't know who we got to gin that
Right.
one up,
It's
but
beautiful.
it's very fitting to say the least for
Yes,
his persona. All right, do you have a dad joke of the week?
I do. I
Okay.
do. Um, what I have for you. All right, here we go. What did the Thanksgiving turkey say to the Christmas ham?
Then turkey to the Christmas ham. I got nothing.
It's nice to meet you.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Turkey, ham, meat.
yeah, no, I gotcha.
Dudunch.
Yep. All right. The Thanksgiving quote for you, coming to you from the late great John F. Kennedy. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them.
Beautifully said. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Thankful for everybody. And let's have a great week next week and kick off the holiday season the right way.
Pat from last year, play us out.
What's for lunch? TBBLC.
Stay in your seat.
What's for lunch today? Sausage. Brown bag, brown bag.
The Brown Bag Lunch Crew.